So, hello everyone, good afternoon. So, today we'll be talking about cybersecurity or safeguarding the digital world. So, moving on, I will be discussing about three important topics here. First one will be understanding cyber threats. Next will be building a secure environment. And the last one will be like secure cybersecurity best practices. So, first, I'd like to talk about what is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity refers to the practice of protecting computer systems, networks, programs, and data from unauthorized accesses, attacks, damage, or exploitation. It consists of a wide range of technologies, processes, and practices designed to defend against cyber threats and ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So the first ones are going to move on to the first section. It will be like understanding cyber threats. So in this, let's move on to the landscape of cyber attacks. So it is divided into three parts. So first one will be like sophisticated threats. So a lot of organizations have sensitive data and it gets breached. Then the organization and its clients gets affected. So for this, I like to give an example. So a company called Equifax, which is a credit bureau company, there was a severe exploit which led to a breach of credit reports of over 140 million people. The breach took a few months to identify and shut down. And eventually, Equifax settled with the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, on a fine of up to $575 million, which is a huge amount of money. So next one will like the what's the impact on organizations. So from the example, we can understand that if there is a cyber breach in the organization, it can have a massive effect on the all the employees and all the clients, etc. So the next one is like emerging trends. So with the increasing interconnectedness of the devices and systems, such as IoT, which is the Internet of Things. Internet of Things means the collective network of connected devices and the technology that facilitates communication between devices on the cloud. In order to overcome and protect organizations from cyber attacks, one need to implement new cyber security methods. So in that methods, there will be a concept called cybersecurity frameworks and standards. So the first framework will be like NIST Cybersecurity Framework. So NIST means National Institute of Standards and Technology. So this framework is a framework that helps businesses of all sizes that helps to better understand, manage, and reduce the cybersecurity risk and protect the network and data. So the next one will be like ISO and IEC 27001. So ISO is nothing but Information Security Management System. It provides a set of specifications, guidelines, and the best practices for a wide range of products, services, and processes. So there is one more method called as compliance and regulations. So other to specific regulations, few of the international committees such as GDPR, which is the EU generated data protection regulation, and it is one of the strongest privacy and security law in the world. There is also a committee called HIPAA. HIPAA is nothing but a living culture that healthcare organizations must implement within the business to protect the privacy, security, and the integrity of protected health information. So we got to understand the frameworks and standards here. So let's move on to cyber threat intelligence. So what is a threat intelligence? Before the cyber attack happens, there is an intelligence committee that assesses the threat, and there are three methods to know about it. The first one is security defense. So cyber security threat intelligence enables organizations to anticipate any threats by analyzing all the sensitive information. By this, we can build this defensive strategies. So second one is information sharing. So we can gather information about intelligence sharing by comparing how other organizations are overcoming any threats in that they faced and how they built a defense strategies to overcome those threats. So it's the collective effort from all the team members of different organizations and all the committee members. By coming together, they can just talk about the information sharing and how they prevent the cyber attacks. So to prevent cyber attacks, we can also use the role of AI and machine learning. So leveraging AI and machine learning technologies to identify any threats or data breach within the organization will help to overcome many cyber attacks And we can also identify how strong security of data that is being stored here. So this is about the cybersecurity certificates. Next, we will move on to impact of cybersecurity incidents. So what will happen once cyber attack happens on an organization or any university or something like that? The first and foremost impact will happen on like financial ramifications. So cybersecurity incidents can cause debt, financial losses, legal fees, the cost of remediations, and it can also impact the organization growth in significant way. So the second thing that will happen is the reputational damage. The outcome from cybersecurity breaches can tarnish any organization reputation and can break customer trust and lead to long-term damage to brand value. So first important will be financial, and then there will be reputational damage. So these are the main things that the company organizations will have to deal with the things. So next one will be like operational disruption. So cyber attacks can disrupt critical business operations, leading to downtime, productivity losses, and supply chain disruptions. So one must follow cyber security measures to overcome these attacks. So coming to the second topic, that is building secure environment. So we got to know like what are the impact and threat intelligence, and also frameworks we can use. So now we'll discuss how we can build a secure environment, so that the cyber attacks might can prevent cyber attacks. The first one will be like network security fundamentals. So there should be certain fundamentals that we need to implement. The first one will be like firewalls and intrusion detection systems. So every organization must implement strong firewalls and intrusion detection systems so that when someone outside the organization is trying to access the sensitive data or information, the organizations will be informed of the same and we can take appropriate actions to overcome it. So next one will be like secure access controls. So by implementing secure access controls such as multi-factor authentication. Not audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So by implementing access controls such as multi-factor authentication and role-based permissions and limiting access to highly sensitive files or folders, we can minimize the risk of inside threats. So the third one will be like the encryption protocols. So incorporate the encryption protocols for data transfers and ensure the data is stored in systems and according to protocols. Like as we discussed in the previous section, right? With the GDPR and HIPAA committees. So they have set a certain set of regulations. So if you follow that and if you follow the protocols according to that, then we can be free from unauthorized disclosure. So the next section is like endpoint security best practices. So what is endpoint security means? It's a practice of safeguarding the data and workflows associated with the individual devices that connect for your network. The first one here is like endpoint protection platforms. So we must apply endpoint protection platforms such as antivirus, anti-malware, and device control features. So by this we can overcome any threats and advanced precision threats. The second one will be like this is the most important one. So patch management. So consistently applying security patches to softwares and devices is high priority, which helps to find us any vulnerabilities and can help us to mitigate the risk of cyber attacks. So this is most important for the remote work security. So as you know, most of us working remotely the current generation. So with the rise of remote work, it's important that we follow robust endpoint security such as VPN and maintain strong boundaries of data sharing and not access any unknown websites and links. So just access whatever the links you know and that you trust and follow the guidelines set by your organization. The next they will go more to the cloud-based. So what is a cloud security strategies means? The first one will be like shared responsibility model. So understanding the shared responsibility model in cloud environment is critical. Following all the steps mentioned by the cloud security governance is also important. So there is a separate committee called as cloud security governance. So once you follow, go to the website and you can just see the rules and the regulations set by them. So once we follow these rules, so then we can be safe in, while browsing cloud and while storing the data in the cloud. So second one will be like data encryption and access controls. So as mentioned before, organizations must maintain strong data encryption and limit the access of applications and data to certain people only. So there might be high sensitive files, so that we can't give access to everyone. So we might need to minimize the access to only higher level people who is going to work on it. So the third one will be like continuous monitoring and compliance. So applying cloud-based strategies and security tools for monitoring threat detection and compliance management is essential to maintain a secure cloud environment. So should be continuously monitoring something irregular is happening, or is everything is going to flow. So that is the continuous monitoring, and this can affect the cloud security. The next one will be like incident response and recovery. So once if an incident, cybersecurity incident happens, then how can we respond and how can we recover from it? So the first part in it is like cybersecurity incident response plan. You need to have a particular plan, develop a robust incident response plan, and follow clear protocols, rules, and communications. The first thing is like protocol should be followed, and the communication should be made with higher higher employees such as managers and CEOs. So let them know what is happening in the organization once the incident occurs. So second one is like backup and recovery solutions. So implementing resilient backup and recovery solutions is important so that organizations can control all the critical data and system. So the operation can perform as before. So one must have backup of every sensitive data. So even if the attackers try to steal the data, then we can have the backup and we can just deal with it. And then last part in this is post-incident analysis. So after the incident happens or occurs, we must conduct post-incident analysis and then identify the root cause for the incident and identify all the vulnerabilities so that it will be helpful for further threat protection. So something happens in the future also, we'll be knowing what the last time something happened. So we can learn from it and we can just implement the same. So the last section here is cybersecurity best practices. So we must follow certain regulations and rules so that cybersecurity is according to, so cybersecurity will be in full flow and those cyber attacks happens. So in that first one is like we should train all the employees and we should bring awareness. So how to bring awareness in sense, you can just first one in sense, you can just bring awareness regarding phishing. So educate employees about phishing tactics and email security is the best bet to empower them to recognize potential cyber threats and report it. So once they recognize any threat, they can report it effectively and can be dealt with. The second one is like security hygiene practices. So employees must inhabit culture of implementing strong passwords and safe browsing and device security. So once your settings for logging something like even simple as email, you need to set a strong password so that can't be breached easily. And also the employee should be made aware of the basic cybersecurity practices. The last one is like simulated security exercises. So organizations must conduct security exercises and security drills so that employees will be more aware that when actual cyber attack happens or even prevent it. So when actual attack happens, they'll be knowing like how it happened. I mean, what's the cause and what is the root cause for that, and they can deal with it accordingly. So next we'll move on to vulnerability management strategies. That the first priority thing is regular vulnerability assessments. So performing regular vulnerability assessments and penetration testing help us to identify any security weaknesses. So once we do this, we'll be able to know if there is weakness in the security system, and we can identify it and we can just apply the best practices. So like as I said before, this is also most important, patch prioritizations. Like deploying security patches based on the threat intelligence and risk assessments can minimize the exposure to cyber attacks. So and regularly we should deploy the patch, and we should, if there is any weaknesses, we should just deploy the patch, we should just cover it. Then there is the concept called a security development life cycle. So combine security software development life cycle by maintaining securing coding practices. So just maintain the secure coding practices and security testing is required to prevent any malware attacks. So if you perform this security and development life cycle, then we can overcome the cyber security attacks. So then there is something called as the regulatory compliance and governance. So that first one is like data privacy regulations. As mentioned before, follow regulations set by GDPR, HIPAA committees, and there is also one more committee called as CCPA, which is Central Consumer Protection Authority, and just implement robust data protection measures and privacy controls. Ensure that all these regulations and rules are followed and followed in the like every websites and that you visit. Yeah, and second one will let cybersecurity governance frameworks. So implement cybersecurity frameworks such as COBIT, which is the Control Objective for Information and Related Technology, and CIS. CIS is like Commonwealth of Independent States, which these organizations provide structured approach to cybersecurity management. So there is also one more party called as third-party risk management. So we can also assign or opt for the third-party security management. And with due diligence and vendor assessment, it is required to mitigate supply chain vulnerabilities. So the third party can just have a look at our entire security system, and they can access if we have been prone to any cyber attacks, or if there is any weak links in the security. They can just find it out and they can just let us know. So coming to the last topic here, cybersecurity culture and resilience. So to have a strong impact, the first one is like the leadership commitment. Leaders in the organization should prioritize cybersecurity at any cost and allocate resources to overcoming cyber threats and maintain the safety of data-driven projects and tasks. They should, the leader should set an example, and they should allocate specific resources for this to happen. Second one, we will like continuous learning and adaptation. So to stay ahead of any evolving cybersecurity challenges, one must keep learning and must indulge in skill development and contribute in the resilient cybersecurity culture. So just keep on learning the new skills that is emerging in the technological world, and just get to know what the latest cyber attacks happen in different companies. So we can learn from it and we can just plan according to it. The last method is incident reporting collaboration. So when certain incident occurs, the employee must report it immediately through proper channels. There should be proper channel to communicate these kind of attacks or anything related to cybersecurity, and they can report the incident in these channels. And they should also collaborate with the cybersecurity engineers and also employees to mitigate the risk and overcome the threat of organization. So yeah, that is it regarding the cybersecurity culture and resilience. Yeah, that's so by this we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Sharon, for this wonderful session. If anyone has some doubts, they can ask. I think we can wind up this session.
Moini, has anyone any questions?
No, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Then we can
Thank
wind
you,
up.
everyone. Yeah, thank you all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.